the show, everyone. This is Charlene live on iHeartRadio, and we are so excited to broadcast with you today. We have with us Peter J. from the Utah Valley University, where the going to be hosting the Utah Bitcoin Summit. And we've been talking about the Utah Bitcoin Summit for months, but we finally found a home, and we're going to be coming out of Utah Valley University, UVU. And the great thing about UVU is they actually have what I didn't even realize. They have a business economic development center there. And we have Peter, who is the director of, the economic development director? How do you say that? You can introduce yourself. Go ahead, Peter.
That's correct. My name is Peter J. I'm the Director of Economic Development for Utah Valley University, and that includes running our Business Resource Center.
Well, I've been there, and most of you have already been there as well. But you can get an office space there. You can use the facilities. You get a mailbox. It's like an office complex for startups and companies, even big companies who want to have an outpost in Utah. They've kind of set up there at the Business Resource Center at UVU. So welcome on board, Peter, and thanks for joining the show. You're going to tell us all about that in a second. But before we get in the meat and potatoes of what Peter does, I want to make sure that all iHeartRadio listeners go online and register now for the Utah Bitcoin and Tech Summit. The date, Friday, October 1st, and that's going to be at Utah Valley University, UVU. And we're going to have a great old time. But you've got to register. And the radio special, 2-for-1 tickets for radio listeners. These are people who listen and they want to come, but you want to bring somebody. You want to bring your banker, your broker, your professor, your family and friends. I have a special just for listeners. So here's how you get that. Go ahead and text me. Well, first register at utahbitcoinconference.com, utahbitcoinconference.com, and then text this cell phone number. That's my cell phone number, 801-299-9105. If you text me the keyword UVU, that's the keyword for today. The number again is 801-299-9105. Text me and I will make sure you're on my special VIP list for 2-for-1 tickets. Now, this is an amazing time to be alive, guys. In case you didn't know, we are on the digital train. And where are we heading? I call it, we're heading to the era of harnessing, where we're harnessing energy, we're harnessing knowledge, and we're just pulling it right out of the universe. Everything is available to us. People have amazing technologies that they've come up with, and that's what so fascinates me about the blockchain technology. That's what fascinates me about the Bitcoin and all the cryptocurrencies and all the ways that we can interconnect around the world without, being in the same room. Well, you'll get to be in the same room with all of us on Friday, October 1st at UVU for the Utah Bitcoin and Technology Summit. That's again, Friday, October 1st at UVU. Now go ahead and register, utahbitcoinconference.com. Well, thank you for joining the show. This is Charlene live on iHeartRadio. And today we're going to really get into, if you have a business, you don't even have an office space, you actually don't need a huge office. There are resources right here in the Valley that can help you. And Peter is going to talk about that. But Peter is also chairing the Utah Bitcoin and Tech Summit at UVU. So he's the new chairperson. He's kind of taken over for me as the chairperson, and I'm just doing the runarounds. I'm doing the grunt work, and he's overseeing the thing, bringing all the partners together. I want to give you a proper welcome to the show. So Peter, take the time again to introduce yourself. We are on iHeartRadio, 99.1 FM, 105.9 and 570 on the AM dial. Are you ready to go, Peter?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right. So tell us about yourself and what you're doing at UVU.
All right. Like I said, I'm the director of economic development here. At our business resource center, we have a lot of resources and things that can help small businesses. We house the Small Business Development Center. They have clinics and classes and one-on-one consulting that's all free to help startups and small businesses get going. They have legal clinics, accounting clinics, marketing assistance, anything you need for your small business. Small businesses are any businesses that are, I think it's less than 15 million in revenue and less than 500 employees. So it's most businesses. We have resources to help them. We also have the governor's office of economic development has an office here with to help companies apply for government grants and contracts. We have office space here. We incubate about 20 companies that are about 1 to 3 years old. We're building a smart cities and fabrication lab. The idea is that people can come here and build, test, and deploy Internet of Things or smart city or other products all within this building. We have the equipment and partnerships, including to build the hardware and the software for artificial intelligence and machine learning that can then be applied to the hardware. So we have everything in this building. We also have partnerships in the community for any resources you might need to start or grow your business, whether it's a Main Street company or a innovative technology company. So I also run a smart cities organization called Utah Ignite, utahIgnite.com. It's the local chapter of a national organization called US Ignite that was funded under the National Science Foundation to find the future of the internet. And a lot of what they were looking at fit in within the smart cities and Internet of Things categories. So we participate in the National Smart Cities Conference every year and help with that. We've been doing monthly lunches where we bring the tech community and the cities and government together to talk about smart city technologies. It can be pretty hard sometimes for a startup tech company to get in the door at a lot of cities and governments. But with our help and with this organization, it makes it easy to facilitate those conversations and help those tech companies get their products to the cities and test them and deploy them in the cities. It's also an educational opportunity to educate city leaders about technologies and the technology companies about how to work with the government. So we have a lot of
Yeah.
programs to help out businesses, tech companies, smart city organizations. So
Well, you seems like you have your hands full there. So tell me a little bit more about some of the companies that are incubating right there at the UVU Business Resource Center. But actually, before you answer that, let me welcome our viewers and listeners to the radio show. We're streaming live on YouTube and Facebook. We're also going to be broadcasting on 105.9, 99.1 FM, and it's 570 on the AM dial. This is Charlene live on iHeartRadio. Make sure you all go and register for the Utah Bitcoin Conference. It's going to be at UVU, and Peter is chairing that, and he's on the show today to talk about not just the conference, but all the resources that are available. But if you really want to be face to face with some of these new tech companies and you want to be in, right there to see the things they're working on, be kind of early investor, angel investor, there's all kinds of opportunities with these new companies. So you've got to show up Friday, October 1st at we're starting at 8 a.m. So Friday, October 1st at 8 a.m. We're kicking it off with an opening ceremony, but you've got to register now. UtahBitcoinConference.com. But if you want those radio specials, you listen to the show because radio always rewards you. It's the number you've got to text to get the 2-for-1 tickets. 801 299 9105. So text me and I will put you on my VIP list. Again, here's the number: 801 299 9105. Thank you for tuning in. This is Charlene live on iHeartRadio. Now, Peter, you talked about you have all kinds of companies there, mainly small companies in the tech space, even Main Street businesses, you said. Give me some of the names or the types of businesses that are right there at the Business Resource Center right now.
well, One company we have is Simple RFID. They did pretty well during COVID because they do automated inventory counting using RFID chips. RFID technology's been around for a few decades, but it's gotten cheap enough from now where you can actually put it on all your inventory, and then you just scan your magic wand, and it scans all of your inventory for you. So it's a touchless inventory counting, which actually was pretty popular during COVID, and so their sales increased during COVID-19 and 2020. Um, we have another company in here called Utopia Compression. They just moved in recently. They do automated drone technologies. They do a lot of contracting with government agencies and with military. They've been working on some automated drone ships for the Navy, and we just had them they just built a drone here in our building using our Smart Cities lab. They just tested it this last week and flew it in our parking lot. One thing we're doing with them actually is we're going to be flying their drones over Utah Lake and scanning the lake and using image recognition technology to scan for algal bloom, and then
Yes.
have some technologies to help remove that from the lake if the scanning works the way we think it possibly could. So we'll see if the scanning can pick it up well or not.
So what is the scanning really going to do over the Utah Lake with the algae? Like, what is the goal of scanning it?
The goal is really just to scan it. Like, we have some professors that are putting sensors in the lake. Well, they're just going out and testing the water for particular nutrients like phosphates and nitrates. So we have professors doing that. We do have some sensors out in the lake already, but we would really need more sensors throughout the lake so you can track the algal bloom as it is created and as it expands. So you can see where it's coming from at the source and stop it right there.
You find the mother, what do you call it? The mothership?
Yeah, that's right. And so the idea with the drones is it's a simple, low-cost way where we can just automate it and fly the drones over on a daily basis and scan the lake so we can see as it we use image recognition technology to see where it's starting at, where it's expanding to, where it's growing, and then on a daily basis we can track that and then use other technologies that some professors are working on to get the algal bloom out of the lake or clean it up. So
wow, that sounds really fascinating, though. You're going to be doing like a time lapse capture of this algae bloom out in the lake, which is a big problem for Utah. If you're tuning in online wondering what's going on with the Utah Lake, well, we've got this algae that grows, and I'm not sure, how it got there, but we can try to find kind of the stem or where, the mothership is growing, so we can tackle it from there. Thank you so much, Peter, for explaining that. Tell us about some of the other technologies that are coming out of UVU Business Resource Center right here in Orem.
Well, we also have a company called Saveology. They developed a product that replaces your financial advisor. It's an app you download. You can make it anonymous. You can enter all your financial information into it. It's anonymous. It tells you how to invest your money. It's kind of like Mint.com, but it's not for budgeting like Mint is. It's actually replacing your financial advisor. So we have a company that built that app. We have another project we work on actually with the University of Utah through our Smart Cities organization. We do grant competitions sometimes. We did an air quality imaging grant competition, and the University of Utah air quality team won that, and we gave them about $25,000 to develop some imaging and deploy some more air quality sensors around the community. And we've given them an additional $100,000 to replicate their project in 3 other states now. So they've spun off from the university, started a company called Tetrad Air Quality Sensors, and they're putting sensors in other states in Ohio, Cincinnati, and Kansas City right now.
Wow. So there's like you can see your company here in Utah or at the Business Resource Center. You mentioned you give out grants to some of these companies. You have like a competition and they can get money to expand or to further develop their technologies.
Yeah, through our US Ignite affiliation, the national program, we can get grant money through them sometimes. We can do competitions to give it out to companies to encourage the development of certain technologies in the state of Utah. So the things we've kind of been focused on is air quality. We did a bike sensor competition recently from all the people riding bicycles in the cities. The idea was the cities need to track where the bicycles are going so they can create infrastructure to support them. They found out that 80% of people who ride bikes are typically riding them to avoid the $9,000 that it costs to own a car every year. And they're actually taking the bikes to school and to work. And so the cities can then create infrastructure to prevent bicycle pedestrian or car bicycle accidents. They found out the bikes were going through a lot of the bicyclists were going through some of the busiest intersections. So if they can create infrastructure to support more bicycling for these people that are riding bikes on a regular basis. So we do all sorts of competitions to try and use technologies to solve problems, whether it's air quality, water quality, things like that.
Wow. So there's so much going on. We actually do have a business plan competition that's coinciding with the Utah Bitcoin Conference. And I'll tell you more about that in a second. But thank you all for tuning in. This is Charlene live on iHeartRadio. And the stations are 99.1 FM. And that's the new Bloomberg News Radio that's broadcast live out of Salt Lake City. And then in the evening, you tune in to Charlene, where we break it down for you in the technology. We break it down for you on the blockchain. And we're practically breaking down every chain that's ever chained us down on this radio show. We get into all the ways that we can basically advanced technology, advanced knowledge, bring all of this into one space. So you've got to come to the Utah Bitcoin Conference because we're not just talking about Bitcoin, we're talking about technology, clean energy, and we're making the connection between all of that because people don't understand that really blockchain and Bitcoin. The value in it comes from generating it using electricity, and electricity runs everything right now, whether it's battery powered or you're on the grid or off the grid or whatever. You have to have electricity. We are in the electric age, we're in the digital age. I know for certain we're not going back to the old stone age, so you better get with it, people. Bitcoin is here to stay. El Salvador just launched, well, they opened up the country on September 7th to accept Bitcoin as a legal tender. That's an amazing feat because in El Salvador, they use the US dollar as their main currency because their own El Salvadoran dollar for some time now they've just been using the US dollar just because of the value. They don't want to print 5 million of their own money to make one US dollar. So in places where the value of their local currency is kind of decimated, it's easier for them to switch on over to using the US dollar as a global or local currency. But guess what? Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is making a lot of sense for people in the third world country that have monetary restraints or they're under embargo or whatever trade implications they might have with their currencies. So El Salvador, the president, decided to go all in on the Bitcoin and roll that out nationwide yesterday. So every merchant in El Salvador is now accepting Bitcoin, is now accepting all kinds of different cryptocurrency. What an amazing time to be living in when digital currency, you thought it would be right here in the US where we switched over, but we'll probably be the last because the US dollar, I mean, there's inflation, but it's still one of the strongest currencies in the world, and a lot of countries rely on that. But it's an amazing time to be alive. Come on down to the Utah Bitcoin Conference where we're going to tell you some really cool backstories on the El Salvador deal. Register now, utahbitcoinconference.com. Tickets are only $39. So make sure you register now. And if you want those 2-for-1 tickets, you got to text me 801-299-9105. Once more, 801-299-9105. The keyword for today is UVU because that's where we're going to be hosting the Utah Bitcoin Conference. We had to move it to the university because there were so many people and we couldn't keep it at the resort anymore. So I'm so glad to have Peter on board. He's spearheading the Utah Bitcoin Conference now, and it's going to be again Friday, October 1st. We start at 8 a.m. and we go all day and all night, baby. So you don't want to miss it. Register now, utahbitcoinconference.com. Now, let's welcome back Peter. on the show. Peter is the director of the Business Development Center or Business Resource Center at UVU, Utah Valley University. And we were talking about some of the companies you have there. You're giving out grants. But what do you see the future for students, for young entrepreneurs? Like, where do you see technology taking us? And do we have the workforce? Do we have the talent, the knowledge base? Are people being trained and prepared to enter into this new digital age? Basically, are we ready to get off the train and enter into the era of harnessing clean energy, technology, mind blowing medicine, and all of that? Where do you see us, Peter?
Yeah, like I was said a minute ago, I run a smart cities organization called Utah Ignite. When we talk about smart cities, that's a big umbrella. You think about smart transportation, smart buildings, smart agriculture, smart farming, just smart environmental management. Just put smart in front of anything, kind of like what we put smart in front of phone. What happened to the phone? We're putting smart in front of any industry.
Well, I don't know about your phone, but my phone's kind of dumb. It's going off all the time.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So you put smart in front of any industry, and you can just imagine what's happening to those industries. And technology is being implemented. It's getting so cheap now to put it on everything in the physical world. That's just what's going to happen. There's nothing that's going to stop it. Um, so everything will be connected. All your buildings, your infrastructure, your cars, everything's going to be connected. The workforce will change. A lot of jobs are going to be automated. Physical labor will be automated. Driving's will be automated. So the workforce will have to change. Um,
So, what are people going to do? Like, what kind of careers should we prepare ourselves for if we're not going to be needed for labor? We're not going to be needed to drive. Everybody will still have a car, but they won't be driving it. They'll be sitting there, doodling on their phone or checking emails or whatever. So, what do we need to really prepare our young people for?
well, I heard a couple good concepts recently that I thought were interesting. And one thing that humans do is they create things. And so we're creators. We create new things. And so actually, automation frees us up to use our imaginations and create new things that we don't have time to do because we're busy doing labor jobs or driving. And so
Right.
once it frees us up, and so people need to be educated on how to use the technologies, on how to and how to be innovative and come up with things. But ultimately, I, humans will always have a role as creators.
Right, and we'll be driving this innovation, not necessarily from the driver's seat of a car, but from the mental space. We'll be coming up with those ideas. It's going to be a race for the greatest ideas. I feel like people are popping with ideas. Like every time I talk with someone, like I was in your office the other day, and like everyone who passed by the door had like something else that was like, fascinating. I want to learn about that. I want to do that. I want to like there's so much to do. But when you're going to a job, I don't know about you, you have a fun job, but when you're going to a job 8 hours looking at a computer screen, filling out spreadsheets and scanning documents and things like that, data entry, you really block yourself from this creative development. Your mind doesn't have the room to expand and or the what do you call it, the motivation to really get out there and learn new things and develop and design. But once you realize that you have this time you're talking about, you can really do that. So I can't wait for this era of harnessing our talents, harnessing the energy around us, creating those smart cities, clean cities. And that's one of the angles we're going to be covering at the Utah Bitcoin Conference. That's coming up on Friday, October 1st. And Peter J., who we're speaking with, the director of the UVU Business Resource Center, he's going to be, he's chairing this conference, and he's going to be there. You can talk to him if you want to get a space there. What do you charge? Like, just give me a breakdown, a quick breakdown of the cost of actually sitting in there, using the space, whether it's a desk or an office.
Yeah, if you want to use the incubator space at the Business Resource Center, we have different levels of memberships. The basic level of membership is you get a co-working space and a membership at the Business Resource Center. That's $55 a month. It's all month to month. We don't ever lock anybody into long-term contracts. We know a lot of our clients are entrepreneurs and startup companies, and they have to change quickly. Some of them fail. We don't want to have them be locked in a rent contract. So everything we do is month to month. You can come and get a month to month contract for the co-working space. You can get a cubicle. Those start at about 150 bucks a month and go up from there. We have dedicated desks at $75 a month. We have office space that starts about $250 a month and goes up. Some are paying about 900 a month, but they have big offices. So they're
But you
kind of,
still get the full resources of the Utah Valley University. So people, I noticed some of your resident incubators, they hire interns, or they have access to this workforce that's right there on campus, right?
yeah. I mean, a bunch of them do hire students. They're working for their businesses, part-time students or interns. So it is an easy place for students to be able to come over here and find jobs. So does make it easy for the business to find staff for the university students. And university students are pretty good. I mean, you can hire a student that's a computer science major and pay him 10, 15 bucks an hour, and you have this expert in computer science working for you. So you can do that
Well,
with.
I would want more if I was a student, but I get
Yeah,
what you mean.
yeah.
Thank you, Peter. Oh my goodness, it's such a fascinating time. You guys, if you want to meet with Peter, you want to go check out the UVU Business Resource Center. It's right there off of University Avenue, right across the street. You're not on the campus side; you're across the street by the hotel side. And so you want to go down there, check it out, take a tour, get your cubicle, as low as 55 bucks a month, folks, that you can't beat that anywhere. And you got the resources all there at your fingertips. Peter, thank you for coming on. 30 seconds.
Thank you.
How excited are you about this Utah Bitcoin and Tech Summit, and what do you see happening there? 30 seconds.
I think it'll be a great event. I think it's timely right now. I think there's a lot of I mean, initially it was just the tech people and financial people that were looking at Bitcoin. I think it's going to go more mainstream, and more people will be putting money into Bitcoin and using Bitcoin. So I think it's a timely to have this conference right now and educate students and others about Bitcoin opportunities as it becomes more mainstream. So
Yes, and you know what? Companies cannot find enough talent or enough people for their workforce needs in the blockchain and the Bitcoin space. You see that they're paying like gazillion dollars if you can code, if you can run a master node. This is an amazing time to be alive. Come on down to the Utah Bitcoin Conference.com. Register and get your tickets now. If you want the 2-for-1 tickets, last chance, call or text 801-299-9105. This is Charlene live on iHeartRadio, 99.1 FM, 1059, and AM 570. Please come on down, Utah Bitcoin Conference.com. See you on Friday, October 1st.